Spider-Man 2, not to be confused with any of the other things called Spider-Man 2, is swinging onto your PS5 in just a few days. But it's been a few years since we were introduced to this iteration of Peter and Miles, and new PlayStation owners might be jumping into the series with no idea of the story so far. So, whether you're a Spider superfan or an Arachna noob, I'm here to give you a refresher on the events of the first game and the Miles Morales spin-off. Let's go.
We're going to heal the world.
Spoilers are obviously ahead for Marvel's Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales, as well as some speculation on the events of the new Spider-Man 2 game. We're first introduced to Spidey 8 years into his crime-fighting career, and in typical Peter Parker fashion, he is struggling to balance all the aspects of his double life. He splits his time between volunteering at Feast, a homeless shelter where Aunt May works, run by a man named Martin Lee, and his day job, where he helps Dr. Otto Octavius to develop mechanical prosthetics funded by the Osborn Corporation, Oscorp. Oh, and at night he dresses in red spandex and webs up criminals as the Amazing Spider-Man.
You know what, Herman? You have like zero personality, but your suit is awesome. Can we talk design details? Maybe later.
We join Peter just as he's heading out on a mission to capture Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin. After a successful takedown of the Kingpin's operation, a new gang called the Demons starts taking over Fisk's old turf. Daily Bugle journalist and Peter Parker's ex, Mary Jane, teams up with Spidey and discovers that the Demons are after a chemical weapon known as Devil's Breath that was created by accident at Oscorp whilst they were trying to create a cure for a genetic disease. They get help from Officer Jefferson Davis and thwart a demon gang attack together. Davis is praised for his heroism at Mayor Norman Osborn's re-election event, but the demons attack, killing Davis and many others. Peter witnesses Martin Lee transforming into the demon's leader, Mr. Negative, but is knocked out before he can intervene. In response to the attack, Osborn hires Silver Sable to bolster the police force. Norman Osborn is not just the mayor of New York, but also the owner of Oscorp that funds Octavius' research, and the father to Peter's best friend Harry, who suddenly disappeared to travel the world a little while ago. He's a man with too much money and just so happens to be present or somewhat involved in all the bad things that are happening around the city. But I'm sure that's just a coincidence. Following the death of Officer Jefferson, Peter befriends his son, Miles Morales, and encourages him to volunteer at Feast. Soon after this, Osborn cuts funding to Octavius and Peter's research and tries to get Octavius to work for Oscorp, which Otto bitterly turns down.
This is opportunity knocking.
The demons steal the only sample of Devil's Breath and threaten to release it unless Osborn surrenders to them for reasons we'll find out later. MJ and Spidey stop Lee, who is then imprisoned in the Raft, a huge Supermax prison, whilst the Devil's Breath is stored away safely, and everyone lives happily ever after.
But not for long!
Octavius became obsessed with creating not only replacement limbs, but enhanced limbs, making 4 mechanical tentacles controlled by a neural interface that Peter discovers is unstable and eating away at his brain. He also discovers that Otto has a neuromuscular disease that will eventually paralyze him, hence the doctor's impatience in testing his new tech. Despite Peter's warnings, Octavius continues to use the neural interface.
When you're casting your vote, remember what I've done. We're all safer now than we have ever been.
Liar!
You have no idea what you're in for.
Peter can't do much about that right now though, because there's a major breakout at the Raft, and some of the biggest bads have escaped. Lee, Electro, Vulture, Rhino, and Scorpion are all on the loose. They team up to subdue Spider-Man and present him to their mysterious leader, revealed to be Octavius, now known as Dr. Octopus.
Dr. Octavius. First and final warning.
Stay out of our way.
Doc Ock releases the Devil's Breath in Times Square, causing a mass outbreak that sends New York into chaos, and the blame is pinned on our very own Webhead. What's worse, one of the people infected ends up being Aunt May. Spider-Man defeats all the villains one by one while MJ infiltrates Osborn's penthouse and discovers that the disease the Devil's Breath was meant to cure was one afflicting Osborn's son and Peter's close friend, Harry Osborn. Lee was a test subject for this cure, resulting in his supervillain abilities. MJ also discovers that Lee has stolen the only antidote for Devil's Breath. Spider-Man goes on to defeat Lee, but not before Doc Ock arrives and defeats Peter, escaping with the cure. Whilst the injured Peter recovers, Miles gets bitten by a genetically modified spider MJ accidentally smuggled out of the Osborn penthouse. Peter spends his recovery time making an armored suit based on Ock's own tech and then heads out to take him down once and for all.
The world will know the truth before they mop you off the pavement.
Octavius reveals that he has known about Spider-Man's secret identity for some time.
You should be on my side! I won!
And is arrested after an emotional confrontation.
Do everything I can. I'll make sure you get the best help.
No! If they put me away, they'll take my arms!
Then, in one of the most emotional video game scenes of all time, Peter must choose to save Aunt May or send the cure out to save the whole city. Of course, with great power comes great something or other, and he chooses the city, with Aunt May passing away shortly after, but not before revealing she knows he's Spider-Man and that she's proud of him.
And Ben would be too.
New York returns to normal, and Peter and MJ rekindle their long-dead relationship. Miles reveals he's developing spider powers, and Peter agrees to train him. Finally, in a classic foreshadowing Marvel post-credits scene, we see Osborn in his secret lab, where his son Harry is seen in a giant goo jar, surrounded by mysterious black substance that reacts to Osborn's touch. Wowee, I wonder what that could be. In DLCs, we see Spider-Man team up with Black Cat and Silver Sable to take down some villains of the week. Silver Sable goes off to do spy stuff.
You have dinner plans? I know this great pizza place.
I must return to Symkaria.
Black Cat seemingly dies in an explosion, though her body is never found. Peter also starts training Miles in these DLCs, which results in a time jump before players step into the shoes of the second Spider-Man, Miles Morales, in his own spin-off game. In a fight with Rhino, Miles discovers he has flashy electric powers he dubs Venom abilities, which surely won't get confusing when Venom and the abilities he grants are introduced in a second game. But I'm getting ahead of myself. A while after, Peter goes on holiday, leaving Miles to defend New York. Miles uncovers a secretive underground group called The Underground, who seem to have it out for a big, powerful energy company named Roxxon. After a bit of digging, he finds out that his close friend Finn is a supervillain and the leader of the Underground named the Tinkerer. He also learns her brother was working on a new energy source for Roxxon named Newform. This energy source eventually killed Finn's older brother, but that isn't going to stop the Underground from overcharging the Newform with the intent of using it to level Roxxon Plaza. To be fair to the Tinkerer, they believe that the resulting explosion will result in no casualties as long as it happened before the plaza's opening. So, it's more misguided than straight up evil. Miles' Uncle Aaron suggests using his friendship with Finn to infiltrate the Underground, which goes swimmingly until Miles is forced to reveal his identity as Spider-Man to save his own life, which makes Finn more than a little upset. Miles and Finn try to repair their friendship with a team-up heist where they fight a souped-up Rhino and discover that Uncle Aaron has been spying on Spider-Man for Roxxon as a villain named the Prowler. Finn loses control and gets upset, beating Rhino and knocking Miles out. Ganke brings the injured Miles home, revealing Miles' identity to Miles' mother, Rio Morales, who's running for governor, but luckily she's actually kind of cool about it. In an effort to save his life, the Prowler captures Miles when he tries to go after Finn, revealing that he knew Miles was Spider-Man the whole time. After the death of Aaron's brother, Miles is Aaron's only family, and so captures him in order to save him from the Tinkerer.
I don't get to pick and choose when I'm Spider-Man.
I gotta stop Finn.
No, you gotta survive. I've been trying to teach you that, but you don't listen.
You want me to survive so bad? Why sell me out to Krieger?
Wasn't a sellout.
Yeah.
I'm serious. You were never supposed to get caught. Krieger broke our deal.
You want it back in the family, and that's the best you could do?
I saved your life.
You threw me in a cell!
To protect you.
Like this is protecting me?
Damn it, Miles! I'm not gonna lose you too!
Miles escapes and defeats the Prowler, inspiring Aaron to help Rio evacuate the people of Harlem to safety as fighting erupts in the streets. Unable to reason with Finn, Miles fights her before absorbing a huge Nuform blast from the unstable power source directly into his venom-powered fingers. Finn, realizing the error of her ways, flies miles above the city so he can release the power he's absorbed, sacrificing herself in the process. Miles plummets down to the ground, and his secret identity is exposed to some of the people he helped. Don't worry though, all these people promised to keep his secret, so I'm sure they will all keep their word and no one will blow up on Osborn's version of Twitter tomorrow. After this dramatic fight, Roxxon faces multiple lawsuits. Aaron turns himself in and testifies against them, and Miles is hailed as not only a superhero, but the local Spider-Man of Harlem. Peter returns home and praises Miles for his growth before they head off to fight crime together. The mid-credit scene for this game shows Norman Osborn ordering a reluctant Kurt Connors, known in other media as the Lizard, to release Harry from stasis despite his unstable condition.
Mr. Osborn, I understand he's your son, but his
I want him
disease could...
gone, Kurt.
But we may be underestimating the potential danger.
I said, get him out! Now!
With a post-credit scene showing Miles leaving a school science fair award he won with Finn atop a church in her memory. And that is every single thing you could possibly want to know before going into the new game. If you found this useful, please subscribe for more Spidey content and tell us what other upcoming sequels you could use a refresher on.